Hello everybody and welcome to this tutorial. As you could see, we continue from last video when I demonstrate to you how we could create a sheet out of the model space. Remember, we had this model, two plans, and we, as I said, don't do any text or hatch and dimension things that are for communication purposes. They should not be here, because once we scale these buildings or any part of it, the text and the dimension will be affected by the scale, and this is not what we want in architecture presentation. You need to have unified text dimension hatching for all plans and details and sections, no matter what the scales are. Yeah? So let's go back to our sheet, which we created last time, A0 sheet. And we created those three viewports showing each one showing different scales. So if I look here, I look down here, it's 1 to 40, and this viewport is 1 to 100, and this viewport is 1 to 20. So these three viewports represent three different scales. So it depends on the number of the scales you have. If you have like five viewports with different five scales, if you have five different scales, you need to create five viewports. Yeah, so I have the three different scales. I created for each one a different viewport. This is how we control the size of the text and hatch and all of that. And this is what we're gonna do today. So the first thing I'm gonna do, as I told you, click inside, outside. This is how it works. This is my sheet. I could zoom in and out with my mouse, and I could pan the sheet. This is the limits are. And if I click inside, now I am inside that sheet. You see, this is highlighted now dark. The reason my model is not moving now, I'm inside. Actually, you could see me touching now. Unlike if I'm here outside, I could not touch or feel the model. So if I'm inside here, I could touch the model and I could do anything. Now the first thing I would like to hit F7 to make it look like a sheet. I don't want to see the grids from the AutoCAD. And this is locked. I told you last time to lock every time. If you look here, this is locked, because if it's not locked, then I will lose my scale if I zoom in and out. But now I'm zooming in and out without affecting my scale. My scale stays as it is. Yeah. So what we're gonna do today, I'm just gonna go to this one and do F7 as well, and I'll go here and hit F7. So now it looks like a sheet. So what I'm gonna do now today is I'm gonna use dimension, which will be one style that unify all the numbers. So this style, which we call annotative. So if I go to annotation, and here we have different styles. So if I go here, the dimension style manager, and then I have different options. So this is the annotative that I'm looking for. So this annotative style will usually detect what scale in the viewport. So it senses that this is 1 to 100 scale, or this is 1 to 40. It gives you the dimension you ask for, the real dimension. Like text, usually 3 millimeters, 4 millimeters, or if it's a title, 8 millimeters or 10. It will give you the 10 millimeters or whatever you require in every viewport according to the scale. So when I measure or when I print them, all of them are exactly the same. So you don't have to print and then look at it. No, this is big, this is small. No, that's what you give, what you get. So you give 8 milli, you get 8 milli exactly in all levels, and we're gonna demonstrate that. So so I could use this directly, but usually I'd like to create my own. Yeah, so I'm not gonna mess. I keep this the original one as it is. I'm gonna say new, but because I'm here, so it's gonna be copy of the annotative one, and then I'm working on with this M8 building, so I'm just gonna call it M8 annotative. Make sure it's check here annotative, yeah, and continue. Now here I have to do some settings. So if I go to my lines, for example, it says 0.38. This is like 0.38 of a milli. This is very small. So spacing maybe 1 milli, maybe extend beyond the dimension line, which is here, the little notch here. Now here it says 0.18. This is too less. Maybe I'll use 1 or 2 millis. And then offset from original. This is where you see the preview here. This is, sorry, you see, it's how much you're gonna set away from that building. So I'm gonna say from the building lines. I'm gonna use 2 as well here, but it's up to you. You could use whatever. Don't worry about here, because it's it thinks that this is we're talking about meters, but I know my model my draft, no, my templates in millimeters, so I didn't really worry about this too much. I go to symbols again. The arrow size 0.18 is very small, so I'm just gonna do 2 as well. Why not? And my text height, this is important here. 0.18 is very less, so if I'm doing dimension, I usually like to go 2 or 3, but I'm gonna do 3 so you could see just for demonstration purposes. And here you see annotative again. This is important that you have it. Now the primary unit, I don't like to have precisions, decimals in my millimeters. And I think I got everything, yeah. So okay, so I'm gonna say okay now, and it's a current, so again I'm gonna set it current, close. Now the way we do it, you have to be inside in order for the program to know what scale it is, yeah. So I could actually do it outside, and a lot of people will argue this, but this is how we do it. The reason for doing the viewport is that. So if I click here, and I'm gonna demonstrate a dimension, so I'm gonna go linear, and maybe I scale this room, dimension this room, and this room is 1200 millimeters, and maybe I give another, so hit space bar to get the command again, the previous command, and maybe I could just try to make him align here. So now I have couple dimensions here, and then I click outside, I go into this building, I want to make a dimension here so you could see them near each other. So I'm gonna click here, use the same dimension, it's still on the M8 annotative, same. I did not change anything in the setting. Maybe I dimension this lift here, and I put it here, and maybe spacebar, and I do this room as well. So just I want to do something close. So now you see that this is 1 to 20 scale, and this is 1 to 40, and they both look exactly the same, and that's what I want. If I blend this and I measure, this should give me exactly 3 millimeters height of this text, and you could see this little triangle there that tells you this is annotated. This is very important that you see. And I'm gonna do another dimension in the 1 to 100, and if I dimension this room, for example, I want something near here. Let's say this area here, I want to bring it near here, so on purpose, so we could see here, this is 1 to 100, and it's exactly the same. And this is what I'm talking about, and this is how you control your annotation in the plan. So this is not being affected by the scale. If the scale 1 to 10, it will be very huge, and no, this is an architecture presentation. This is what we want, yeah. This will happen applies also to the text, yeah. So if I'm gonna start from I'm gonna set my own text. I go to the text style, and here we have annotative. Again, I'm gonna start anew from here, so this should be annotative. I'm gonna call it M8 room text or something, maybe, because I'm gonna use it for the room, so it's important that I'm gonna do that, yeah. Text, okay. And I'm gonna decide what is the size of if I start naming the rooms, yeah. So I think about 3-4 millimeters should do, so I'm gonna go for 4 milli, and I could change the style if I want to any style, and there's different options you could play with, but important, look here, it's annotative. This is how it works here. This is what control, and I said it's already current. Okay, so if I look here, it's M8 room. I'm gonna start with this one, and maybe I'm gonna start the multi-line text in this one. I'll say toilets, okay. And I don't know, this room, I'm gonna say another style, and this could be electrical room or storage maybe. Okay, so now see the text here. I'm gonna do the same thing here, the same style, and you see that it's okay. So now, as you can see, again, it's the same size, although these are different scales, but they're exactly the same. I do the same here, and I go to this room, so I have to click inside and make sure that you're inside the viewport, not doing the text outside the viewport. So to make sure that you cannot grab the text in, because it's within. So if I go inside, now I could grab it, move it, do whatever, yeah. So make sure when you do that, you're inside your room. So I'm here inside, I could zoom because it's locked, so I could zoom in and out without affecting my scale. And I'm gonna do, and then this is Studio 005, for example. Okay, so now the text is exactly the same, that no matter what the scale is, you know. So the scale 1 to 100, 1 to 10, 1 to 40, they're all exactly the same. And this happens again with the hatching. So if I want to do hatching, I have to be inside. I have to double click inside the viewport, and then I select hatching from the home ribbon, and I'm just gonna stay with this. I'm not gonna change the scale, but maybe because of millimeters, 1 milli scale is very, very small, so let me put 5 here. Okay, so it's 5, and then it looks for okay, good. So now you could see, I don't remember what was. Yeah, this is, so maybe 20 milli, so I just need to, you could see it now, but it's still not 20 is still not enough. Maybe when I go to 50, you know, you could see it now, but still pretty much small. But this is something changeable. So, but I want to expand the, I want to see the, I could change the type now. So now this different type, but still very dark. When I move away, I don't want it, I want to see the lines, so I show you how this work. Let's go for 100 milli. Okay, now maybe you see it a little bit. So I'll double click outside. So now if I do hatching here, it should be exactly the same. I'm gonna use the same style, double click inside the viewport, use the hatching, it will come the same. No, it's not 100. I don't know why, I guess 100 did not affect that one. Okay. So now if you look here, different scales, but the hatching stays the same. Even if I do it here, and I use the same hatching, it's 100 now, and now I have been doing one mistake which I forgot. Now I should go back. This is why I was struggling earlier, and now I remember my mistake. I'll tell you why. So let me just undo that. Control Z will undo this, because this was a mistake, and I don't want. Okay, just redo one thing. Okay, so when I start, I click inside, I started the hatching. I forgot to tell you that I need to use the Annotative. It's very important to use the Annotative. I forgot this part, yeah? So now it's Annotative. This is my hatching, and here I'm going to change my scale to 5 and see. Okay, it fits here. Okay, maybe I'll change the scale to 20 just for demonstration purpose, so you could see it from far away. And this, and then I go again here inside this viewport, and it's the same hatching. So I'm gonna, it's not a close bound, it says, so I'm gonna use this one. Okay, now you see, again, I'm not sure if I clicked the, it's Annotative, and it's here. Okay, so now just this should be only the scale, I believe. It's not, did I do 20 there? I think 20, yeah? Only the hatching scale, yeah? It's not, now it's the same, yeah? So if I go back here, okay, I have to escape, I'm inside, I select, it's 20, this is 20, so this is exactly, you could see the same hatching, and this is what you want. You want to unify the hatching. You don't want the hatching to be affected by the size of the drawing or the scale. So again, if I'm inside here, I'll go hatching, make sure it's Annotative. It is not, it has to be 20, and I will try to do this. Okay, it's okay, it's demonstration. So now you see, even at 1 to 100 scale, it's still the same. The last thing I want to do, now I'm gonna, when I print, I don't want to see these lines when I print, so I'm gonna hide these lines. I'm gonna go to my, create a new layer. I don't have a viewport, so I'm gonna create one layer. I'm gonna call it viewport, and just change the color so you could see it. Oops. no, I don't care about these. Let me just untile this one and just give it the name that we could see it, so we know that is. And then I'm going to select my viewports, okay, and change them to the viewports. I should have closed that viewport. So now this is what you see when you print. The other thing, you need to have a title block here. Next video I'll tell you how to create an annotative title block that will be used again and again in different